Hello, my name is Alexey Skobelev. I am the founder and director of the research and consulting agency Markswebb. At Markswebb, we conduct a large number of studies and audits of digital services in which we constantly answer the same question. What's wrong here with the user experience? Or if we are conducting a competitive benchmarking study, we answer the question, how is this service better or worse than another in terms of user experience? When you are just creating a new service and designing the future user experience, you need certain rules to follow to create a user-friendly and useful app. In such situations, rules like Nielsen's heuristics are very helpful. They are truly very powerful tools that help reduce the likelihood of errors when creating new interfaces and new user journeys. But we more often work with cases where the digital service has already been created, the interfaces are ready, and real customers, often millions of people, are using them right now. In this case, Nielsen's heuristics and other similar frameworks don't work so well, because answering the question, which principle should I follow to ensure good performance, doesn't really help validate whether the service actually works well and how to further improve it. It's much more effective at this point to start with questions like, is there anything bad about the service? Is the user currently suffering from something? Or what might be annoying them? And what would prevent them from completing their task and being satisfied? From these questions, we arrived at the concept of a UX problem, and over many years of work, we have developed this concept into a comprehensive classification of UX problems that categorizes them and helps us more effectively identify UX problems in existing digital services. In future videos, we will cover each of the 12 classes and 43 subclasses of UX problems in our classification in detail. But first, let's define what a UX problem is. Actually, it's not as simple as it seems to be. When most digital product researchers and designers are shown up an app and asked what problem might the user have here, in this particular feature or on this screen, they normally respond with answers like, well, this button isn't bright enough, or well, this information block isn't visible enough, or for example, well, the screen loads too slowly. So they describe interface properties or service features that they feel are not okay for the user. And this is a fundamentally wrong optic. A UX problem is always a state experienced by the user himself. Without a user experiencing something negative, there is no problem. It's incredibly important to view the problem through the user's state. For example, it's not the online store doesn't have enough photos on the product page, but rather the user is unable to evaluate the product or whether it meets his expectations because the available photos don't fully describe its appearance. Or another example, it's not the payment confirmation button is too small, but rather the user doesn't immediately notice the payment confirmation button due to its small size and insufficient color highlighting and wastes unnecessary time scanning the screen for the button. Or the user has difficulties hitting the payment confirmation button the first time due to its small size. He misses or accidentally clicks another button instead, which then forces him to waste unnecessary time going back and repeating the target action. Note that these are two different problems, one related to the poor visibility of an interface element and the resulting unnecessary time spent searching for it, and another related to the difficulty of error-free interaction with the interface element. Another example, it's not the template payment form is 4 clicks away from the main screen, but rather the user is annoyed that frequent for him operation that he performs in the service, payment templates, requires extra steps each time, while unused links take up space on the main screen of the app. Well, it's a common mistake for designers and researchers to measure user experience quality by the number of actions or clicks, assuming that fewer clicks to complete a task are always better. This is really not always the case. It is also important to consider that users themselves aren't always aware of a problem. During UX testing, we often hear respondents who are having trouble with the service claim that they're stupid or too inexperienced, unable to easily handle a task, or they may simply have a very high threshold for inconvenience, beyond which they will label a solution as inconvenient. But even if the user isn't aware of the inconvenience at the time and doesn't experience irritation, the mental effort involved in using an inconvenient service will accumulate and create discomfort. So the user will eventually consciously or subconsciously avoid your service. Please note that in these examples I have mentioned, the word user is always present, and this isn't simply a substitution of the word into the original phrase, like, for example, the button isn't bright enough becomes the user thinks that the button isn't bright enough. It's not the case. UX problem is always a deviation from the user's normal state, caused primarily by the perceptions, habits, patterns, and expectations, not by the interface, color, or other aspects of your service. Therefore, we always formulate UX problems in terms of the user state. The user couldn't find something, the user had difficulty understanding something, the user had difficulty choosing something, the user was like bored, waiting for something to happen, etc. This is important to understand because a service can have many users. They can be very diverse with different habits and experiences with digital products and with different attitudes towards the world around them. And you will almost always find people with conflicting button color preferences or service usage habits. So you will have to choose whose problem you will solve, who is more valuable to you as a customer, and whose activity and loyalty will be more valuable to your business. And for this, it's even more important to correctly identify the problem in order to then propose the most targeted and effective changes to the product or interface to minimize negative impact on your entire audience. In the following videos, we will examine each class and subclass of UX problems in detail, show examples of problems in real services, and provide general recommendations on how to avoid similar problems in your digital product. I'm confident that if you are a UX researcher, UX designer, or product owner of a digital service, this video series will help you significantly improve your skills in creating great user experience. So stay tuned, subscribe to Markswebb channel, like this video to keep up with it. See you.